Can you smell what we're cooking? It's Jett Theory Radio. Live from the ATX, welcome to Jett Theory Radio. I am David, but you may know me better as the one they call Jetter. I want to thank you very much for tuning in and joining with us today as we get into some serious discussions. I mean, this is going to be very highbrow because we're going to be talking about the best, the very best of sports entertainment out there today. As always, the man to my left, Mr. Gail Murrin.
The Shady Justice, your voice of reason.
I apologize ahead of time for anybody who was listening there and got disturbed by what Gail just said there. Let's just move on because that's all we need to do at this point. Gail, do you have any? Oh, he's got something to say.
In honor of our chat on the WWE or any other federation there is, I am drinking the most high class of Texas beers.
And that's the we cut out this part here because he's waving to the camera. Sorry, folks listening there. I'll try to give color commentary. Gail is holding up the beverage, the can, blocking the logo to the camera. Murrin, what are you doing? It's the other way around. There you go. Now do Havana White. Do Havana. Now shuffle a little bit. Give me a little hip action, side to side. No, not doing it. He's just taking a sip, folks.
That's Lone Star beer, folks.
Okay. You're the only one drinking it right now. I'm just going to point that out.
No. There's plenty of Texans drinking it right now. Trust me.
All right, well, enough of that nonsense. You're all probably wondering, well, actually, Gail gave it away. We're going to be talking about some WWE, some wrestling if you're into that kind of phrasing. And today, joining us, we have the wonderful, the delightful Ashley. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good to hear. Now, from what I understand, you're what they may call very knowledgeable or an expert about wrestling here?
I don't know so much about expert, but I love it more than anything. And it's what I spend most of my time doing, So I know I don't strike people as, your typical wrestling fan. Like, if I'm walking down the street, nobody's going to, clap me and be like, she probably goes to Raw every week, but that is the case.
Little do they know. Well, okay, in that case, then let's just get started right into the topics and talking about it then. Now, me personally, I grew up on wrestling I was like a tot, and I was put in front of the TV. I grew up during the big Hulk Hogan, rise to fame, his body slamming Andre the Giant WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Had to watch all those pay-per-views up until, I don't know the time span, pretty much when Stone Cold got really popular and the Monday Nitro and Monday Night Raw battle between the two different programs was going on. At the height of that is when I sort of fell out and it's been on occasion picking up here and there. Murrin, I don't think you're knowledgeable anywhere with it, right? You know a few of the big guys, Rock,
I know
Hulk Hogan.
Bit here and there.
I mean, he kind of blew past that whole thing in the 90s where I did too. I think everybody was into wrestling at some point in the 90s when The Rock and Stone Cold and all of them were, Undertaker, it was a huge thing.
Probably some of the more popular people that, everyday people was going to know.
Right, names that you hear, that's kind of where I saw them sort of, explode whenever the WWE consolidated and sort of went to Raw and then eventually SmackDown, but I totally missed that. That's disappointing.
That. You were there for that?
Yeah, I remembered it.
I like her attitude already. Yes, this is going to be great.
We'll see.
Well, we sort of did this thing with with one of our previous podcasts where we were talking about nerdy comic book characters and all that fun stuff. So to sort of get that going with this, I want us each to go around. We'll pick our favorite wrestler and try to describe how that match would play out if it were out there in the open. Okay. And just to make things fair, let's just say this is a regular 3-person match going on at once. No steel cage, no Hell in a Cell, no special
Just
wrestling kind of
triple
match. Triple threat, yeah. Sorry, I'm a little outdated with those modern lingo there.
And triple threat 3, that was a stretch.
I know.
You need some background information.
3-3. That work? Yeah, that works. Okay. Any person from any era. If you want to say you were Hulk Hogan in WrestleMania 3 when he was at the top, going over, or having Andre the Giant throw him over and becoming popular, let's go for that. So. I'm not going to start with Mr. Murrin. I'm just looking at him.
Oh.
He needs a little bit of time because I had to refresh his memory about a couple of the wrestlers there. So I'm going to go the early favorite that I really enjoyed outside of Hulk Hogan because I think that's just too easy of a target. I'm going to go with Ultimate Warrior.
Okay, all right, nice choice. That's respectful.
Powerhouse. If anybody listening probably remembers him, he was the guy with the painted face, long hair, running down to the ring, bouncing up and down all over the ropes. Most matches would last 30, 40 seconds, if that. Not really good at the longer matches or trying to draw it out, and he always wanted to be the one that came out on top at the end. He really wasn't the guy that wanted to fall for anybody else or anything. For years he had falling out with the whole industry. And then when he came back and he got promoted and inducted into the Hall of Fame for WWE, he unfortunately passed away, like within a few days of that. Really sad way to end it, but since it's in his prime, I want to go when he won both the Intercontinental and the World Heavyweight Championship when he fought Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my turn. I'm going with Roman Reigns every day, no matter what. He currently, he doesn't have a title currently. They've sort of been, he's been on main roster for like 3 years. Came up from NXT in 2014, I want to say, with the Shield, with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, which are all pretty major players right now. But he's not a huge favorite. He's a big heel right now, and has been, I suppose, through the whole thing. But
because I know the name. What's like his finishing move? What's his specialty?
So he's got the spear. Superman punch, anything like that.
Okay.
Roman Empire is his whole thing.
The Roman Empire?
The Roman Empire. Yeah. He's the dog and it's his yard, because currently right now he's going with the Undertaker. Him and the Undertaker are fighting at WrestleMania.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that's been happening the past few weeks. So it's deeply conflicting for me, because, the Undertaker, I have to show some respect there, but Roman's my guy, so it's...
Well,
I'm actually surprised you didn't choose the Undertaker.
Same.
I like him, but there's a few I would choose. But for just an ultimate go in and just triple threat kind of match, I'm going to go with the Warrior.
Is he more your cage match guy?
No, he'd be more Hell in a Cell.
Okay.
Because I don't think, has he ever lost a Hell in a Cell? I don't think.
Probably not. And then he had the 31-0 streak at WrestleMania, and then Brock Lesnar.
And then that.
Life ruiner, Brock Lesnar.
That's why I'm. Well, then who would you go for in the WrestleMania match if it's Undertaker versus Reigns?
Reigns. I'm a loyal woman, if not anything, so I will stay loyal to my men despite my better judgment. And that's the thing. So I was at the Royal Rumble in San Antonio back in January, and it's a 30-man match. And it's, they come out every 2 minutes. And the last spot is always held for, like, a surprise entrant. And, like, everybody kind of thought Finn Balor was coming back and all this stuff. And Roman had already had a fight that night against Kevin Owens for the Universal title at the time. To it, Braun Strowman had to stick his big ugly head in and ruin it, whatever. So, I just lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Please cut this
Reigns.
out.
Reigns. Why?
Try to cut it out.
The guest, special
Aaron.
guest.
Yeah.
And special guest at the end of the...
At the end. Came back in after
Roman
fighting
Reigns
earlier.
or-
Oh my God! How
Roman
did I
Reigns
forget
or-
that? It was
Yeah.
because I blacked out because it was so scary when I was there. So I, of course, in there in like Roman Empire, regalia head to toe. People already don't like me because of that, right? And 30 comes out and it's him. It's him again, and like the booing, like I could feel it in my chest. It was so loud, and it's like I could see everybody around me looking at me, and I was like,
Why is he such a huge heel then?
So to me, he's kind of had like a Christ-like storyline to where he's kind of been like the sacrificial lamb a couple of times, just kind of like been beaten down. Real no reason why he's like, why people don't like him.
Mm-hmm.
Current theory is kind of like that he's just been overplayed so much and that they're kind of like shoving it down people's throats and they're just kind of sick of him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, they don't think he has all that.
When Vincie McMahon wants somebody at the top, he's going to push him there no matter what. That's consistently what I hear, and it ruins a lot of careers, unfortunately. Hopefully not. Hopefully that doesn't happen with Roman. But
I would be devastated. But I mean, you need that kind of energy for people to engage with characters like that. I don't know. Maybe I do like a lot of heels. Now that I'm thinking about it, people that I'm the only jerk in the audience, like screaming, like so happy. It's a whole thing.
So is there a certain time period for Roman that you're picking? More recent stuff?
So if I can pick him out of the Shield for this particular fantasy, I'm going to go when he was in the Shield. So like 2013 to 2015.
Okay. All right. I think we've stalled long enough, given him plenty of time to think.
I've dropped name after name after name.
That's fine. No. Actually, I'm going to pick no name you dropped.
Okay.
So I thought long and hard about this today. We kind of had some things. I went through, of course, fan favorite for me is Stone Cold. And it's not because I look like him.
How many times have you been accused of that in your life?
Never.
It's just the bald head and beard. I mean, it's just a thing.
He doesn't have a beard.
Bald. He's got the thing. Remember, I used to have the thing.
Not the thing that you
He's
got.
got a goatee?
Yeah, I used to have a goatee.
Please, Mr. Murren, tell us who you reached out to the internet gods to help you choose from so many options.
All right.
Distill it down to the one pick that was probably the first one you searched on Google.
So I love me some Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about who's the only one to currently have beat up our president.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll get into that subject later.
Okay.
But we refer to him as the president. And if you didn't see that, there are air quotes.
Yeah.
Continue.
All right. We're talking about you brought up that heel comment, and I do like the heels. The Rock played a great heel on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly he actually became an actor, so not many of the other guys can really say that for their acting. The other, you go with, say, a Hulk or even Andre the Giant would be fun to throw in the middle of that. But I'm going to have to go with a personal favorite. And that's one Mr. Nick Foley.
Do you mean Mick Foley?
Yeah, Mick Foley.
Okay.
Sorry.
Shows his knowledge base.
Mick Foley.
Who was fired from Raw last night.
He's fired. Like legitimately fired, or
Stephanie McMahon fired him on TV, so probably not.
Yeah.
Storyline fired.
Yeah, storyline fired. Okay,
Yeah.
fair. Because there was that point in time where he really wasn't there for all of those reasons.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I would pick Mankind. Why? Because if you're asking any of the wrestlers to do anything, Mankind in his prime was willing to literally kill himself.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any other wrestler can really say that.
True. He would throw himself into everything, every aspect there. So
And
you
from
have
any height.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not denying you have a very formidable
And
opponent.
it wasn't like he didn't win either.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, go for it.
Okay.
Pick me
So-
apart, Jetter.
Those are it. We got Roman Reigns, we got Warrior, we got Mankind. We'll just do that so you don't have another mess up with your favorite
Mick
wrestler.
Foley.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now the important thing about any wrestling match, if it's just a regular in the ring fighting kind of thing, the entrance order is very important. Usually the heels would go out there first, and then the star or the expected winner would be the last to go. In the height of all these guys, I'm not too sure who would be the heel in this situation. You going to go with Reigns?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Now Mankind, he switched between
Yeah, he went back
weird
and
and back and forth.
forth. Yeah.
So he'd be the tweener guy?
Yeah, he'd probably be the tweener guy.
Okay.
It'd make more sense because the tweener guy is usually the guy who does something ridiculous as well.
Yeah, true. And then, Warrior would be last then, which makes sense because he would go out there, and I don't think he ever went out second to last to anybody because his style was to get in there and just start the match right from the word go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think out of all those three, with my guy entering last, he'd be the first to hit somebody, and everybody would go down. From there, where do we go?
And so we don't have any like extra words. We're not tables, ladders, and chairs. No kendo sticks. No cages.
No,
Like, this is
we're
just
just
man
straight
meat
up.
on. Okay.
Yeah, man
Yeah.
meat on man meat,
Yeah.
if you want to put it that way.
I did want to go
Man meat on man meat on mankind meat.
on man. So clever.
I try not to, but it just falls out and it hurts his ears.
Broke his brain.
Oh, so maybe vomit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I think Mick is going to be the first one to fly off the handle.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. I believe that in that
I
that it
feel
would be.
the more he gets disqualified than by
I
doing
could
something out of control.
Now I'm wondering if...
Like you said, now no obstructions, no tables, no chairs.
Mhm.
He's the first one to go down and grab the microphone and throw it at someone.
Yes. Yeah. I'd probably. Yeah.
True.
Like
That could... You know what?
trying to choke someone out.
I
with
could
a
see him
cord.
doing that to Warrior, and I'm going to say that's good because then that knocks Warrior out of the match for a little while, and then an actual wrestling match could take place while the Warrior just sits in the back and does nothing for a little while or is knocked unconscious or whatnot.
Right.
So then it just goes to fight between your guys' picks.
Okay.
Now, have those two ever fought before in a match?
Mick Foley and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because I don't think Mick hasn't
Yeah, they
actually
haven't.
fought in how long now?
I mean,
I'm not sure. The last thing I knew... it wouldn't matter anyway because Mankind... Well,
Last
in
time I
this
saw him do something, he
craziness.
did something, like he slid in the ring and did something to Triple H, but it was like, maybe 30 seconds worth of something?
yeah.
mhm.
And like, I thought he was on that physically can't really do anything because he could really get...
Present day, probably.
Very
Yeah.
yes, he's very that, and that's why I'm kind of wondering if they fired him. That it's something. That it's something like that.
Yeah,
like there's something
like
else
he's gotta
going on.
retire and
And he has his
Get
own
back.
show on the network, Holy Foley, where they kind of talk to him and his daughter, who is currently also trying to break into NXT.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, lineage is super important in WWE, and it's you'd think that like you just kind of like get a pass it, but that's not really the case. Like Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte Flair, Natty Neidhart, Bret the Hitman Hart, and
Yeah.
all them. Not so much working with her. It's
Huh.
not so much nepotism if you don't actually have the ability to wrestle. So they're
Very
pushing him pretty good, and they gave him they cleaned him up. He's got like short, dark. They dyed it. He's got like a very respectable beard.
Mm-hmm. Looking pretty nice.
Looking pretty nice.
If you ever get the chance, he did a documentary on Netflix, I Am Santa Claus. His big thing is to get dressed up like Santa every day of the year and go out and spread cheer.
That was Mick Foley.
Yeah.
I heard. I didn't know that was the same guy.
Yeah.
Man, he was going through something, huh?
well,
Man.
I mean,
Yeah.
you jump from so many feet and hit your head.
I mean,
Yeah.
no judgment there. I mean, you
It's
do
not
what you gotta
exactly
do
soft.
at that point. No.
It's almost at this point you got to wonder, like, does he still carry a show to a decent degree?
Very, very. I mean, people love him. That's the thing. It's like, wrestling fans of multiple generations have these bonds with Mick Foley, and that's why having him as a general manager.
Oh yeah, I
has
win
been-
the love vote out of the three.
You win the love vote?
I'll take the crowd. At least for...
We're just going to continue to roll our eyes really hard and be silent.
No, I
because
just
while
needed
you're
to
not
look at the
hearing us.
ceiling really quickly.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just like in that instant there after the words came out
Yeah,
of
I
his
just
mouth?
wanted to check.
Okay, yeah. It's all right. Refresh your palate there with some
Okay, I'm just
fine
trying to
ale.
turn
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the finest of ales. It's just a Lone Star. Oh, okay. So who would get a finisher off of some type?
I mean, if we're just talking age and logistics, Roman's gonna kill these guys.
Well, no, we're taking them each out of their prime. Like, this is just the fantasy match where...
Okay.
Because I could see Warrior clearing the room, but I could see when he tries to do anything to Mankind, Mankind just does the claw right away.
Right.
Like Mankind will be able to get out of anybody's situation. I hate that I have to defend somebody else's wrestler, but if they don't have the brains, I got to go in there for them.
Oh wow.
I'd say honestly, out of all the picks, my guy probably would lose. He'd either be knocked out or he just wouldn't be able to go. I imagine this match would probably be a main event match going about 20, 25 minutes, somewhere around there. And there's just not the stamina with Warrior to keep that up throughout. So even though I like him and he's my pick, I'm going to say he's out in some regard before the end of the match.
And so you leave it with Roman and Mick.
Mm-hmm. And I think at some point in time, Mick gets himself disqualified.
Just straight out disqualification?
Mm-hmm. Because he pulls a maneuver.
I feel like, Mick's, well...
Or he does something, they yell at him for a little bit, and then Roman, depending on which Roman is, it then comes from behind and gets him.
Yeah, like I'm seeing that Mick's distracted trying to get his suck, and Roman comes in with a spear or a Superman punch, all due respect, Mr. Foley. But that old man's going down.
Yeah.
I didn't say he wouldn't go down. I'm just saying.
I mean, horde.
I'm saying he's going to do something absolutely ridiculous.
It'd probably have a concussion or two involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like actual
On him.
concussion.
Yeah.
Too.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I like where that went.
Yeah.
My guy lost. Aww.
Oh, so sad for you.
As long as another person's pick lost as well, I am fine with that.
Well, Roman always wins anyways.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think, I now that I think about it, in the match, I'd almost rather have picked Bret Hart, the Hitman.
I also wanted to change my pick a little bit to Triple H.
That was number 2. I didn't talk about him, but the fact that he's been around so long, won so much as both, heel and I mean, when you're talking about most hated, I mean, who? And he really brought the hate. I mean, people hated it.
There is the screenwriter. I know I've talked to you about him before, but have you ever heard of Max Landis?
Mm-mm.
He's a screenwriter. He did what was a silly movie? Teenagers and they all got superpowers. Yeah, fact checked it real quick. He's in love with wrestling, and he thinks Triple H is the best thing to happen to wrestling ever. He's developed a character over 20 years, and he's got this half hour to an hour long podcast kind of thing, or just a video about him talking and describing it. And he makes a good case for it.
Yeah, and I can support. I wouldn't say the best, just because so much of my affinity for wrestling is emotional, but technically, Triple H is absolutely up there, probably top 3 for, and he's a proprietary owner, I think is the right term, but he owns that company now. He married Stephanie McMahon. All that stuff is very real.
Yeah,
and that is his company now, since Vince is sort of in the shadows. But he is still an active wrestler. As of 2 weeks ago, he was taking his shirt off and beating the crap out of somebody with a crutch. He's still doing that.
This is, I'll wear the suit, but on occasion, if it's got a...
And he does it Daddy's home, he's been drinking, and he's mad, and he's rolling up his sleeves. And I'm like, why are you even wasting your time? That shirt's coming off here in 5 minutes every time.
Do they still refer to him just as Triple H? When's the last time that he's probably referred to by the full Hunter Hearst Helmsley?
Yeah, very long time. Now it's either Triple H, Hunter, or the King of Kings is really the only thing that they talk about him as. Because he's such an authority figure now that they kind of boxed him back in. Yeah,
you can't really be the major player out there. You'll be more essentially picking up where Vince is trailing off them, like you described. Yeah. What'd you find?
So he wrote Chronicle.
Chronicle, that was it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. He also wrote American Ultra recently and Victor Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you saw Victor Frankenstein, but...
Not a fan?
Don't.
See, it's weird because some of the actual screenwriting in the movies that comes out that Landis has written, I'm not a fan of. But if you see him, I don't know if you ever see the show Screen Junkies, the YouTube channel. they have this thing called movie fights, and he's one of the participants, and he knows movies like really well, and he can talk about character, he can talk about story, he can like get into all that really at a very intellectual level. But then what comes out is crap.
So, yes, people who know, like the critic, it's real. The critic isn't necessarily the best maker. That is a real thing. We'll have that discussion on another session. Because I could talk for hours on that.
You wanna table that for now, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Make a mental note. Gail's backing away from an argument.
Oh, God. I had a question for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, the fact that you're so into wrestling, especially through growing up, did both of you have toys?
Oh, yeah.
No. Well, so I was only into wrestling maybe for like a year. Like I had a huge crush on the Big Show, so that was like my thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who I saw at the Royal Rumble.
How tall is he in real life?
7 something.
Something? Okay.
And he's trimmed down a lot. Like he's been getting like more into shape, so he's not just like big. Like, he's, I guess, weighs less than he used to, but like he's like leaned up. So he's.
Has he still got the? Because last time I knew about Big Show, if he wasn't in some sort of street clothes thing, he was in that like Andre the Giant unitard.
Yes, he is still in the onesie.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
All the way down, right here.
And
just all that man chest, all 7 foot, 300-pound.
I think wasn't he originally like marketed as Andre's son or offspring or something like that?
I don't remember.
Like I have a fuzzy memory of
that.
Something
Doesn't
like that.
surprise me.
Yeah.
Just kind of like how Undertaker and Kane are brothers. You know, they kind of do that. I mean, there's real, relation, like The Rock and Roman Reigns and the Usos. I mean, that's a huge... Nia Jax, currently, who's new to the women's roster from NXT, they're all in that Samoan lineage, I guess is the right word.
That works about right, yeah. Or background. Real life background.
No, like real life, like related. And then they kind of have this different style that's a little bit more aggressive and kind of like poundy.
I'm trying to think who...
So who was your first toy?
That's what I'm trying to think of. Because I had... I remember one... okay, so I found out at an early age that Santa wasn't real. And I'm sure anybody listening right now would...
Is devastated now?
Devastated right now.
Spoiler alert.
I know. Sorry, children, if you're listening to this fucking podcast, question your parents' stupid, shitty judgment. So I found out Santa wasn't real.
What if they were listening with their children right now?
Why the fuck?
There you go. Put explicit on it.
Perspective.
Explicit is everywhere, all over this podcast. So I was really big into Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, all that when Wrestling Buddies came out. And for Christmas one year, I like really wanted like a wrestling buddy. Really wanted a wrestling buddy. It's just this like 2-foot stuffed doll that's very generic looking. And I kept mentioning it. My mom would collect like UPC labels and send it in for refunds and for coupons and stuff like that. So there'd always be receipts out on her desk. Well, I was walking by the desk one day and there's a receipt from Toys R Us. And there's an Ultimate Warrior Wrestling Buddy. So then I had to go to my mom and I had to really like just let her know, I really, really want a Ultimate Warrior Wrestling Buddy for Christmas. And then that's when she was like, wait a minute. And she got clued in on it that I knew what I was getting. Oh, that was fun. Because I got to help.
You were so excited and devastated at the same time.
I really wasn't devastated. I didn't care about Santa.
Well, I'm so sorry that you were so well adjusted as a child.
Yeah, that's debatable.
So I'm
that's my big toy.
I'm gonna call my parents out on this one. Is that I think my first wrestling toy was an Andre the Giant, and I think it was because Hulk Hogan was already sold out and they were too late to get there.
Now just a regular like action figure kind of thing, or
not that I wanted Hulk Hogan. I think it was still at the point in time I was maybe too young to realize it, but I think that's what they were going for, and then just was like, well, he doesn't care, so here's Andre the Giant.
Plus, Andre the Giant was in The Princess Bride, so you kind of win there.
True. That is a big ups.
Yeah, people forget he was like the first one that like turned actor. There
was actually a really good graphic novel that came out. somewhat not. It wasn't an autobiographical, but I think it was with the blessing of like his family, where it came out and talked about his life, talked about him growing up, talked about his what's the specific disease he had.
I don't remember the real name.
Yeah, look it up there, Murray.
Google.
Okay.
Go.
Talking about that, talking about his alcoholism, talking about wrestling, talking about the Princess Bride, and he could. What was it? There was one thing that he had drank 100 beers before events sometimes.
I bet.
And the big thing was the night that he had Hogan body slam him. He drank so much through the day that they didn't know, one, if he could do it, and two, if he would allow Hogan to do it. Because it's one thing to plan it beforehand, but when you're out there in the ring.
And someone's drunk and belligerent and huge. Things
You sort of
go.
have to go with what they say.
Right, yeah.
You can crush my head with your one hand, and I'm Hulk Hogan, and you're a big guy. Going down.
I would have liked to see that, though. I mean, we didn't know what a jerk Hogan was back in the day, but now I'd like to see that a little bit.
That's a weird thing. Like, the Hollywood Hogan persona came out with the whole NWO, and he was that was his big heel turn. And I think after that, it shined a light on it, and that's when a lot more of the behind-the-scenes stories about him came out, where he pretty much wouldn't fight certain people, he wouldn't turn the belt over to certain people. And granted, if you're the big dog for the company, I'll go with that for a little while. Let you run with it, and you get what you want. Triple H probably being in that kind of category.
Yeah.
And then to look back, it's like, it's disheartening.
It's very disheartening to erase so much of my memories from like the early 90s just due to my own like principles these days.
Yeah. Well, I remember when the Montreal Screwjob happened, because I was watching the event and they cut it out really quick, and I just remember being like, that's
not
weird.
right.
Why did they do that? Are you familiar with Montreal Screwjob? So the Montreal
So before you
Screwjob.
explain that,
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so Andre the Giant suffered from gigantism by excessive growth hormone, which later resulted in
Last part, megaly.
Acromegaly.
Acromegaly.
Okay.
And then because of which he died of actual heart failure.
Yep. Heart too small for that big of a body. Which is weird, because isn't that like steroids, doesn't that enlarge your heart?
It's actually worse if your heart is enlarged as opposed to too small for your body.
Yeah.
Because it dies faster. Muscle.
Do you want to just say that over here? Get tag
Come
in,
on,
you can
Dr.
hear it.
tag in an
Liz.
expert.
You can hear that loud and clear.
You can hear that loud and clear.
Get out of my frame.
So it's actually worse to have your heart larger than it is smaller for your body because it dies quicker. The muscles wear out.
That is so sad.
Large hearts are bad.
You don't gotta get away. I don't have one. Get out.
That was the medical expert tagging in.
It was Dr. Liz.
Dr. Liz.
Yes.
Katie.
KD, my personal consultant.
Any other toy favorites?
Well, no, so I didn't get them like back in the 90s, and still, so now I'm almost 30. My parents do not understand my recent infatuation with the wrestling. They didn't super support it when I was younger either, because it was a little butchy, and they didn't too much care for that. But now I buy myself the toys that I like. Like I have a giant blingy women's title ring, and like little Ugg boots from the New Day, and like t-shirt. Like that's what I like now. But it's clearly not marketed for middle-aged women. So
Really?
it's a little disappointing. Like, yeah, I know that I'm the minority as far as like the WWE universe is concerned. Not really trying to push a lot of product on me, but I would buy the crap out of that. And I think that that's one of the problems is they're missing out on such a huge market, even though they've gone to like the E! Network and have started shows like Total Divas and Total Bellas, which are like kind of Kardashian shows where it's like, oh, look at us get her hair
Is
done
that
and
like the
fight.
behind the scenes kind
Yeah,
of?
yeah, for the women's division, and that's actually how I got into wrestling. Was I accidentally like had it on in the background one day, like many years ago when Total Divas first started, and I kind of got interested, and
like,
then I
oh,
started
they got
watching
me
the
hooked.
wrestling to watch the women, and then I just now it's a full-fledged sickness. So I'm like, I
caught
see
the
what they
bug.
were doing there. I'm like, they got me good, like that demographic, but then as far as like product placement or like pushing that kind of stuff, they're not really paying attention to the females at all.
That surprised me a little bit because if there's anything that I know the WWE really wants to do, it is to make money. And they have got so many different things that they can market. It, to me, would make sense.
Yes.
All ages, especially because you got to figure, like, people my age. Actually, no, I'm kind of young. People Murren's age. They're old, they're decrepit.
Elderly.
Yeah, they've been around for so many years that they remember back when Hulk Hogan had hair on his head, you know? And so they've got money too. Why not advertise to them?
Why not? Yeah. I'm a huge market that they're missing. Triple H. Listen to me.
Thanks for calling me rich, by the way.
I didn't call you rich. I just said you had
just
some
implied
disposable
it.
income.
But yeah, I mean, I would walk around with like a replica belt in a heartbeat. I have no shame. I don't care.
They've got a lot of those.
They have expensive replica belts that can be upwards of like $500, $1,000, like real
that
ones.
much?
But then they have like little toy replica belts that can be
Yeah.
like $150, and then really toy belts are like $20.
Yeah, those I actually have picked up from Walmart. Me and my family are super gamer nerdy people. Each year we have like a family reunion kind of thing, and we play the board game Risk. And the second year we did it, I was hosting it, and I took one of those cheap belts and I just made a Risk championship belt. And
That
so
is
like
awesome.
right now it's in
It's
my
like NWO, just like spray paint that.
Yeah, just and it's in my house right now because I'm the current year's champion. Third time
Title
running.
holder. Look at that.
Yes. Although I do have to surrender it each time to somebody else because I never get first place 2 years in a row. But it always comes back around.
I believe in you this year. 2-time
I'll
champ.
try.
Yes.
It's in Phoenix, Arizona this year, so
Nice.
I'm gonna go
Cactus.
and win. That's actually what I should do. I should like get the more expensive belt and bring it with me this time. But I don't want to mod anything I spend more than $20 on.
Oh yeah, these are not the investment for you then.
Yeah. Can you custom order belts like that? Can you?
I'm sure, maybe not from WWE, but I'm sure
Yeah.
people make belts. Because, I mean, there's all sorts of, like, other independent, like, wrestling things that are happening.
True.
You know, people don't just come up to the main roster from NXT, just like WWE's minor leagues, essentially. They come from all sorts, like, independent wrestling circuits. And
Well,
so
there's
gotta be a belt maker.
what other independent ones are around? Because like the big ones for me were WCW and WWF. It's really difficult for me to still call it WWE, which yeah,
The WWF, WWE, yeah.
yeah. Those are the two big people. What other like leagues are in there now? Like NXT, WWE.
Well, yeah, and NXT is WWE. Like, it's their brand.
Okay.
Like, they own that. It's on the network. They have cruiserweights, too, which is just a division for, I guess, small people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. They've taken people from the main roster, put them back down to the cruiserweights, like Neville.
You mean normal-sized people?
Oh, yeah. Normal-sized people.
'Cause-
My cruiserweight hosts here
Yeah.
that are not 9 feet tall and
Correct.
going to die
Yeah.
any day now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, they'll be around a lot. And they're a lot more, like, agile. There's a lot more flips and jumps.
Yeah.
And
Think of it like back in the day, like the Chris Benoit's, the Rey Mysterios, people like that. People more mid card that you wouldn't necessarily see in the top unless they became really uber popular.
yes. Yes. Yeah, Mysterio's still around.
He is.
Oh, yeah. Mysterio.
Still doing like everything he did before.
I mean, the dude defies gravity. They all do. The cruiserweights, it's really, I mean, it's athletic.
Did he ever get unmasked? Am I thinking at one
Not-
point he did?
Not that I remember.
Okay.
It hasn't been in the past, like, 3 or 4 years.
Because I know that was like that's a big thing with like any of like the luchadora style kind of wrestling. If you get unmasked, like that's the
just
end of your
it.
career. Like
Yeah.
you're done. You can't do anything else. There was I remember I think it was on some documentary I saw on Netflix talking about wrestling where there was the most popular luchadora wore his like even in public after he was retired still wore it. Funeral in the casket still wore
It's
it
in
like
the
it
face.
never came off.
See, I like that kind of loyalty.
You like that commitment? That
Yes. Yeah, just like do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it till you're dead.
Mm-hmm. And from and this is more of a somber topic. If you want to get into dead wrestlers a little bit at all,
Try me.
it's astonishing to me more and more names I hear each year of wrestlers who have passed. Honestly, and
Yeah.
it's in a lot of ways like okay, this relates to like football and head injuries. I think just like the NFL who hid that they had a problem and it was killing people for years, WWE sort of pushed that to the side. And now you've got all this research and all this subject matter, and I think they're so late to the game on it that they haven't really done anything to really like stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so Eddie Guerrero, whenever he died, WWE came out with a wellness policy after he died, because not because of how he died, but that the heart condition he had, if they had been doing like the physical testing, the drug testing, things like that they do now to other wrestlers, they would have caught it, and it wouldn't have happened that way, essentially. And so it's obviously evolved over a few years. A lot of people. Roman Reigns was suspended for 60 days last year for a violation of the wellness policy. Turns out it was Adderall. I mean, he's probably tired. Jesus Christ. Like, let the man take an upper or two.
That's
God.
a performance-enhancing drug?
Yeah, it wasn't like steroids, nothing. And then you've got, I'm sorry, you want to, like, suspend him for, 2 months over some Adderall, and you've got Brock Lesnar, like, who is just, like, 90%, synthetic hormone at this point, on the main roster with nothing.
Who draws a bigger crowd, I guess, is what they're looking at.
Exactly. And I'm like, and now that UFC is sort of, like, telling Lesnar that he can...
Yeah, we've got actual legitimate rules, and we're legit
and we're not playing
fighters.
this game with
Yeah.
you. I've noticed that Brock Lesnar now seems to have more of a willing attitude, maybe, to do some things he wasn't before. Maybe play along with the storylines like he was before. Maybe show up every now and then, because now he's like, now I don't have a job.
Yeah.
Because I'm a jerk. But yeah, so the wrestlers being, like, injured and hurt, they have really, like, sort of stepped it up, and they test them very frequently, not just like drug testing, but like heart tests, like getting them on the treadmills and the sonograms and the stuff, and making sure that they're all fine. So they have taken more steps, and while it's not as intentionally violent as maybe it was like in the early 90s, like with McFoley and like doing that, but...
Because at one point they had like the no blood policy.
Right, that is not... that can't be a thing anymore, because at Extreme Rules last year, Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose were going at it, and there was a bucket of thumbtacks or nails, and they dumped it onto the mat, and then Dean Ambrose either pushes or slams Jericho down onto the mat, and he's got a bag full of thumbtacks, and we're just watching this happen on like Monday Night Raw, or no, it was Extreme Rules. So like on a pay-per-view,
it's thumbtacks.
But still, like, damn, do you want to fall on?
Well, no, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
There's no denying it's gonna hurt, but it's not going to.
It's not gonna
irreparably, or even irreparably do anything seriously damaging.
Yeah.
Maybe if you get the nerve just right.
I think it's more like my point that they still can't and still do get hurt. Like Seth Rollins has been injured pretty severely with his knee several times. Finn Balor has been out. Okay, he's actually back, but not.
I could see Lee's knees and ligaments falling apart.
Finn Balor popped his shoulder out. Like any of these joints, that's usually where they're going out now.
Because I know Ric Flair hasn't wrestled in years, or has he recently?
So he's been in the storyline this past year because of his daughter, and she betrayed him, and all that kind of stuff. But he hasn't done any in-ring action. No.
I was gonna say, he'd be just. I'm pretty sure they have to talk him out of doing it.
Right.
Like, he's the kind of guy that's like, okay, let's do it. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, no, that's. But I think that. There's been, I feel like every week, like when Raw opens, it's like, in memory of, somebody that's died. And I don't know if it's age, but like being a wrestler, that is, people always want to talk about how fake it is. And that's my biggest thing. I'm like, really? Shocking. But these people are still athletes. They're still like performing, and they're still getting hurt sometimes.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, imagine like, okay, the equivalent would be like football players sit there and they have practices and stuff like that, but there's just one game a week. Maybe two if they've got a Sunday and Thursday night game that they're expected to play.
Right.
And it's heavy hitting. You got a full medical staff there ready to help you out in an instant if something bad goes wrong. In wrestling, you've got the same exact thing happening 4, 5, maybe 6 nights through the week.
Yep.
You have the medical staff that's behind the curtain. So unless there's a serious injury in the ring, they're going to stay behind there because the story has to play out a certain way.
Yes. Like, there's only been one time in the past several years that I've seen a match stopped where because I don't know this for a fact, but I wonder if those refs are like medically trained at all, because I know that what they're doing is somebody gets hit and then they're down and they go and kind of get in, like they say something to them. I think it's like, so they have like a word or something that they say if they're fine.
They've got a safe word?
Yeah, safe word. Yeah. And so last year, I forget when it was, but Enzo Amore, who is in the tag team with Big Cass, who's like 7 feet tall, also just a giant.
Because why not?
Stack of meat. It was just intimidating. But so Enzo's this little guy, and he gets thrown through the ropes, and the back of his head catches the rope. He is unconscious out by the time he hits the outside of the ring. But the other guy didn't know, they're just trying to keep the story, and you see him like kind of like jerking him along, but that's when the ref is like, you gotta cut it. And they like, you see the stretchers and like the real people coming down because Enzo is out. And he's on the stretcher and they take him out and still nothing. But he's fine, he's back, but you can really like do some head stuff with that.
Well, there was the big thing that I remember from that is Owen Hart and how he passed. That was I couldn't, and because it was the safety harness didn't catch or something like that, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
And he
obviously
tumbles down. I mean, it's.
And that's so scary, like watching, like all it takes is like one neck, one wrong fall, and that's why you see some of these bodies sometimes like falling, like God, like.
Well, have you? And if nobody's seen it, I highly recommend it. The movie The Wrestler.
No, I've heard of it, but I have not seen it.
So,
Aronofsky.
Yes.
Did this movie, and he had Roddy Piper on as a consultant. If I remember, that was who he talked about. Pretty much to like show the wrestler's life, like what it really is.
Yeah.
And you have Mickey Rourke, who's the wrestler, the main character.
Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei's in there as well. And he hasn't been wrestling for a while. He does a lot of like the smaller circuits where it's like a crowd of 10 to 20.
Yeah.
And he needs money for like heart surgery. And I forget, like it leaves it at a cliffhanger kind of ending where you don't know if you decide more or less how he's going to go. If he's going to perish young, like most wrestlers do, or if he's going to go on strong. And it's a lot of old wrestlers who always see that movie. Like I think Iron Sheik, he had his Netflix documentary.
Yeah.
And he talked about how, that is legitimately it. And at a young age, you can just go. And he's one of the older ones who's been around there for so long, and he's seen everybody else get affected by this industry. You have drug addicts from like pain meds because you just go through so much pain. That leads to alcoholism, and just they suffer through so much through their entire lifespan that at the end of the day, if they didn't train right, if they just couldn't keep up with it and it became too much, you've got like football players where there's enough brain damage, dementia happens, suicides are out there.
I mean, it's not just football. I mean, look at basketball. You ever seen some of these guys walk around? You ever watched Charles Barkley walk across one of those sets?
Yeah, it's like hip dysplasia.
Yeah. It does not look good.
No, not at all.
I mean, for them, it's the knees. It depends on the sport. I did look up what the referees are trained on. They actually take years of training on the ability to choreograph and communicate. So they're the ones signaling between the wrestlers on what the next move is.
Yeah. Because wrestlers...
So it's more training on that than it is necessarily any kind of medical training.
Wow.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I'd almost
bleeding
rather...
a lot.
Yeah. He hasn't lost that much amount of blood. He's still like staggering up and stuff like that.
I'm sure there's some. There's got to be some.
Well, I tell you what, you'll start seeing that they're medically trained when they wear the gloves while the wrestlers are fighting. Then that's when they're going to be... You have actually medically trained people. Because the UFC refs will do that. And the MMA refs will do that.
I've watched one UFC thing in my entire life, but I did notice that. That was strange.
Which UFC?
So it was the one where Brock Lesnar was supposed to main event like a while back. I couldn't get to that. It was so like graphic and violent and awful.
Yeah.
And I was like, I actually don't like fighting apparently.
Yeah.
I like soap operas.
Yeah.
Yes.
With
it
some
is a little
punching.
different when another guy like Silva, I was there for that match where he literally just kicks the other guy.
Yeah.
And his leg
And
just
just in
snaps.
half.
Yeah.
What the
Of course,
hell?
I saw the same thing. I was watching the Kentucky game where the kid did the same thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it happened in a basketball game.
But in basketball, you got guys going for a ball. You don't have guys like, I'm going to kick the shit out of you.
No.
Yeah.
He didn't go for a ball. He shot it and landed.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
And that was it.
You get
And
you get the
leg
difference
just
though.
Broke.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. Ooh.
So it can happen anywhere. I mean, yeah, but it is more violent.
Okay, I remember what I was going to talk about. The Montreal Screwjob. So, you weren't aware of it, Murrin.
No.
The Montreal Screwjob was when Bret Hart was pretty much leaving WWE, and he had the title. He was going to go to WCW, and that's when they were just pretty much getting everybody from WWE on over to their side. And they were doing it was a Survivor Series in Canada. Canada's his home country. He says, I don't want to lose, but since it's Sunday night that the event's going on, that Monday I'll come to wherever city we're at, and I'll drop the belt to whoever. I just can't lose in Canada. So him and Shawn Michaels have this huge match, and it was a really good match. It was like a Power Hour match? Yeah, Iron Man match, where they wrestle for 60 minutes straight. Whoever has the most pinfalls wins. They got 0-0, so like, okay, we go into overtime, keep going until one person calls quits or gets pinned. The referee was in on it, and apparently Shawn Michaels was too, depending on what recollection he's having that day. But the basic thing of it is Shawn Michaels put Hart in the sharpshooter. Or not the sharpshooter. Was that? Yeah, it was his own move, I think. It was the sharpshooter, Bret Hart's own move. Put Bret Hart in that. Bret was sitting there saying, no, I don't give up. And the ref, you could tell something was going on because the ref sort of just shuffles back and forth and was like, okay, and waves his hand back off and just calls for the bell and then rushes out of the ring. And Bret Hart was like, what? Shawn Michaels got the belt and took off to the back as well. Vince McMahon came down, and that's essentially when the cameras cut off. Bret Hart spit on McMahon in the face and just started trashing everything ringside. It was because Bret Hart's, he said, don't do me like this. I'll complete my contract. I'll do everything we need to do. Just you can't make me lose in Canada. I can't go out like that.
And so he went out like that.
Thus called
They
the
did him
Montreal
dirty.
Screwjob. Yeah. It was not... And watching as a kid, like, I didn't know a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, and since the only real news source at that time was whatever WWF then magazine put out, that's what I saw. And so the story got held for a long time. It wasn't until years later that I started, like, looking on the internet, doing research where people were, the fans saying, yeah, this happened then, this was the whole story and stuff. And I got into it, and I was like, a lot of things are now making sense of what happened in that era. But that's McMahon. That's what McMahon ultimately likes to do. He wants to protect his brand, protect his company, protect his wallet.
I think that's the most important.
Yeah, and he was losing a lot at the time, which is still funny in retrospect. After everything that went down, he ended up buying WCW from Ted Turner like a few years later for a couple mil.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that money that went out, all like the viewership and all that just was going away. In a few years' time, he'll get it all back. Pennies on the dollar.
Well, I think Ted Turner got uninterested.
Because he was losing. And it came down to bad writing.
Very bad writing on
Yeah.
Nitro.
I think in 1 month they had the heavyweight title changed like 5-6 times in a given week at
We
one
should do
point.
the research on what were the TNT shows at that point in time and see if they also had a ton of bad writing. There's a whole TNT correlation. Like
It makes sense to a certain degree, but it was specifically that brand. Like
that wasn't writer strike time, was it?
no, not at all. With wrestling, there are certain writers that will go out there and will do. You got to go to wrestling and you got to think we're going to follow the storyline between pretend people, but we're supposed to accept certain facets of reality, like Kane and Undertaker being brothers. Characters dying on screen. Thinking of like Triple H and how him and his wife got married.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're such a cute couple, though. I mean, if you're into evil and all.
Well, how they originally got married in story.
Right, yeah. And they've done that a lot. With
He drugged her, took her through a drive-through wedding chapel, and they got married that way.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
romantic.
But you
that's
go
setting a great story.
you go with those kind of storylines. You go with that kind of outlandishness. And WCW toward it ends just was so outlandish. You had David Arquette winning the heavyweight championship, the actor, because there was some stupid wrestling movie, Ready to Rumble, I think it was, where he was in it promoting that, and they're like, hey, we'll promote you and make you the heavyweight champion, rendering the title meaningless. And when you do that enough times, it just... That's the end of that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you're a fan of a certain band.
I am. Might be true.
Might be true, depending. Well, this band just recently announced they're going on tour. But you know where they're not touring?
Texas.
Yeah.
Anywhere near Texas.
Anywhere near Texas.
Because in order to get out of Texas, you need, what, 2 days at least?
A few, you know.
I can vouch for that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Straight road trip drive. We've done it before, a couple of times. And so it's from like here to Chicago.
And half of it's just getting out of Texas.
Yes. Very much so. But yeah, Tool's going on tour for the first time in seemingly years where they're not doing like just special festivals. Like they're actually putting together something, which actually makes me a little excited because then that means that they probably have an album coming out soon.
Well, weren't they supposed to be having an album coming out like a year or two ago and then nothing ever happened? It never came?
I always hear the same rumors year after year after year, and especially like the past 3 or 4. It's, they're working on something. Yeah, they're in studio. Yeah. Maynard, the lead singer, just got done with hip replacement surgery last year.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was doing his wine stuff.
Yeah.
Or like a Perfect Circle piece of it.
It was the wine stuff, Perfect Circle to a certain degree. They started touring up, like I think right after he had the surgery, because that was recent. And they ended that, and now it's, okay, Tool's going on tour. With the idea behind all that is that, okay, they're just prepping up and getting ready for an album. Because everybody else in the band besides Maynard has been working on it for years, just like fine-tuning it, getting it to sound just right. Because the last album that they did, 10,000 Days, was not a favorite of mine. And judging by the death stare you gave me, I'm going to imagine that you probably are a fan of 10,000 Days.
I loved 10,000 Days, personally. I loved that, he did so much of it for his mother, and, a lot of it was... It's not self-indulgent. What's the other... Or it's like, it was like personal for him. Like, it was more personal, I think, on an emotional level, and you didn't really see that from him, whereas kind of a departure from this... there's always... I've always found spiritual aspects of Tool's music, but it was less about that and more, like, grief. And I liked that. I liked that part of it.
When you have more of a personal message behind everything you're trying to do, because like that's his wine, Maria, right? Yeah, or Maria, named after his mother, and that like
Marie.
Yeah, because it's Wings for Marie Part 1 and Part 2. Yeah, which those were good songs. Like I guess I was always a fan. Like I could take entire Tool albums and just listen to them beginning to end. Yeah. 10,000 Days I couldn't do it. There was just too many...
I get that, yeah.
Like, not filler songs, but just songs that are there that maybe if I listen to now that there's been enough distance and time, I could probably enjoy them a little bit.
Yeah.
But at the time, it just... no.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't put 10,000 Days on the same, like, level as Lateralis or Enema or things like that. But that was one of my favorites. Like, when I came into, like, knowing Tool and, like, loving Tool the way that I did, that was the album that had just come out. I was very late to the game.
Yeah.
I was not allowed to listen to Tool in high school, so... they're the devil. So
it's devil music.
Yes, the devil music. And so by the time I had, like, come of age or on my own and sort of got into it, it was much after, Tool had kind of had their...
So you were held back from the Tool.
Very much so.
Okay. See,
and
were you held back
stuff
from...
in real life?
Yeah, most of the stuff in real life in general.
Well, were you held back from anything?
Not really. I just never got the exposure to it.
Like, my parents had to deal with me blasting Green Day and Metallica. They never came in and said, "Stop, you can't." They said it stunk and they hated it.
Mine was so aggressive to the point where I remember I had the Linkin Park album when I was maybe like 14, 15. No parental advisory, nothing. Like there was nothing that explicit on it. I remember my mom saying one day in the car, she was like, "These sound like very angry young men." And she had gone on the Google and got a picture of them. Found out that one of them had some sort of satanic imagery tattooed on their person. She then takes this CD and puts it in the microwave.
What?
Yes. These are iceberg tales from Ashley's childhood.
Now, if I could, what album was it? Was it their first one?
It was a Hybrid Theory.
Hybrid Theory?
Hybrid Theory in the microwave.
And these were the dangerous men.
These were the things. And I couldn't listen to albums that had, like, edited versions of things that had explicit
You had to go to
lyrics.
the Walmart
I wasn't even allowed to get the ones at Walmart.
Oh.
Like, even the edited versions. Like, I remember I wanted a 311 CD because I'd seen them on TRL. And no, I couldn't get it because she, of course, you know... I could have been Google, though, because this is
Wait, what was... Okay, because, like...
Yeah, it's probably Jeeves on the Juno internet.
Yeah,
she was doing
I
what
think
she could.
Google wasn't until like 03, 02, something like that. Yeah, but it... Okay, or web crawler. Web
Yeah,
crawler
there's a
was
lot of
one there.
internet banners
You see, like,
obstructing her.
I was really... My favorite band was Nine Inch Nails, and I got exposed to them in high school, freshman year of high school, and I listened to all their music. I listened to Marilyn Manson. My mom never sat there and said, no, you can't listen to it. She wasn't like that.
And you turned out just fine. Me,
Debating.
maybe not so much. Like, maybe there was something to look at there in your parenting style. My parents are also televangelists, so it's a little
Slightly
different.
Slightly different mold there.
Yes,
Okay.
it was a different experience.
See, I can't... I judged my sister for the music she listened to, but she went from, and this is really interesting, because this, for a homework assignment one year in high school, you had to write a poem, and it was the one where you say like 7 or 8 things, and then the last one's supposed to be the funny, like, exact opposite of everything else. And the one that I turned in that I believe I got an A for was, my sister likes 98 Degrees, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Hanson, and Marilyn Manson.
A haiku? You wrote a haiku about her.
Oh, not a haiku. It's something else, but that...
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, no.
Yeah, I forget that it's been so many years. Like, I just remember that was the way how it went. Because she was into all this poppy stuff, and then turned on a dime, it seemed, and got to the good music.
That's though I followed a similar path. I mean, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees, LFO, all those ones. I was very, very involved
Little
with.
Britney?
I loved Britney. Why don't they just leave her alone?
Because she's so toxic.
Still relevant. Oh my god. I have to go now. It was lovely being here. Appreciate your time.
Oh, so toxic.
Jesus Christ.
It was right there.
Jesus Christ.
Terrible. Somebody had to die on that terrible joke spear. And I said, let me fall on that,
And
please.
just fell on your sword.
Wow.
Appreciate that.
People listen to that, and I'm listening to like White Zombie, and I'm like, toxic? Who's toxic?
It's funny because I did get into some pop music just because it has a way of just getting under your skin and like, yeah. And that's, it worked.
You're in a safe space, Jetter. You can talk to us.
I
About how
am.
much you love the Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet was not back for me.
What? That's crazy.
No, it
Is
wasn't.
it back now?
No. Like,
Isn't
okay.
it coming back now or something? Or is
I'll
that
say
NSYNC?
this.
I'm
I'll
sorry,
listen
I
to
don't
like
know.
The Backstreet did go on a tour with New Kids last year.
New Kids.
Yeah, so it is back.
I mean, I'm not young enough
Yeah,
to know
back.
who the New Kids are.
New
I'm
Kids on the Block.
How many times can they just add Backstreet is back?
telling you.
It's just, it gets exponentially worse each and every
We will
back.
follow them into our old years, our golden years. We will still be everybody.
Be on cruise ships.
Yes,
Oh.
like elderly cruise ships, and it's just like in sync.
And interesting now, the last surviving member of 98 Degrees.
Okay. Oh god, I would die.
You get like, instead of like 3 backup singers standing behind them, it's like 3 like dancers, and they just go into all like their old moves and stuff. It's
Yes. Keep them young. Take your vitamins.
I don't. I'm just having bad flashbacks to like bad high school dances with bad music. Yeah. It's you
just a collective heave of awkward
yeah.
tearing your skin off.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll sit there. I'll listen to like Amazon will have a playlist like the 100 greatest songs of the 90s. Or like 90s dance hits.
Yeah,
and like I'll listen to it and it's like, oh, it's enough time removed that it's like I can sort of appreciate it now.
Because now it's ironic and you can elevate it.
Get it?
Don't you think?
Get
we're walking. We can probably, I guarantee you, and we ought to do this sometime where we just have a podcast where it's nothing but 90s lyrics back and forth.
Can I come?
Yes.
Look at that. Yes.
I'm going to go on vacation for that.
Liz from the Peanut Gallery even joins
Gail's
in.
out of town, filling in for him, kind of doctor, Liz Rivera.
Oh, it would be good. That would be so entertaining. We just walk right into terrible pun, terrible pun, terrible pun, terrible pun. Most listened to podcast ever.
Ever. Oh, so sad for you, Gail.
I know. My torture.
I'll make it up for you, Gail. As soon as Tool comes around to Texas, I'll buy you tickets.
Okay. I have no problem with Tool. So.
I know.
Who would
But it
have
will
a
never
problem
happen.
with Tool?
Okay.
You don't
Yeah.
like Tool?
Oh, I
Is
thought
that
you
what you
meant that
meant?
sarcastically.
No, I meant it sarcastically in the fact that they'll probably never come down here,
Yeah.
so I'll never have to buy you those tickets.
Why do they not come to Texas? Do they have a problem with Texas?
I don't know. I mean, Maynard always seems like he's in a pretty good mood whenever
Mm-hmm.
he's been playing in Texas. Like we're pretty good to them. So but it's a very limited tour.
Yeah.
It's not many dates at all. Like
it's-
was it
it's-
15 maybe?
Are they driving or
Yeah,
are they
if
flying?
that.
Are they
I'm
driving
not sure.
or a flyer?
It's a lot more like, if I remember correctly, northern cities. So
Okay.
I don't know if the plan is, okay, we'll hit the top half of America and then slowly make our way down, or how that's going to work.
Yeah.
Because usually if they're going to do that, it's around that I-30, I-40, so they hit Fort Worth or Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a Houston. And
Yeah,
come
when
back
I saw
around.
them the last time I was in Fort Worth,
Mm-hmm.
and so they came to Cedar Park like a couple years ago, but they didn't announce that show until like a week before. It was not a long notice at all
Wow.
when they played in Cedar Park.
Yeah.
Just
So-
have
Or
to be on
maybe
the
it was a
lookout.
perfect circle. I might be confused.
I know they're coming around soon, if I remember
Are they
right.
driving or flying? Because a lot of the bands that do come to the super big ones for Austin, San Antonio, they do fly in
Mm-hmm.
instead of being some gigantic bus tour.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
of course, the set comes in on buses because it has to,
Mhm.
but the band itself, not
Yeah,
necessarily.
Tool, half their shows like these giant. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen them live. But
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's a whole.
No, I have not. But
There's
I've
Yeah.
seen comparable size, so and I've set up sets in college for. Oh God, I had to set up Kiss. That was.
Kiss.
Oh.
You saw Kiss?
You kind
and
of.
is like, do you see like this sense of like pain about having
Yeah,
to say
I'm
that?
like
Well, see, because I set up the set. I
Okay.
didn't have to
for
do
Gene
that.
Simmons,
I didn't get to meet him.
But it was
or
for
anything
him,
Cool.
but you
or anything
helped.
like that.
perspective, Gail.
Okay, fair. But
I think Gail's hinting at his age.
No, because I'll give him this. Kiss has gone like on a farewell tour for like 20 years, like the Rolling Stones.
yeah.
Although I don't think they have since Family Jewels.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Good old Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
I just know the name, and I know he's on there,
Family
and his
Jewels,
hair
that
couldn't
says
be
enough.
more dyed black. Like it
Oh,
was
yeah.
ridiculous.
There is nothing wrong with a dye black
Don't-
job.
hey.
Okay.
I used to, back in the day when I had flowing locks, I would completely agree. But those times have changed for me. He should accept that fact too. I would if I could.
The
if-
Mr. Clean Club that
Yes.
Yep.
somehow come in to visit this evening.
Yeah. It happened. I did it for a Halloween costume right after I moved down here, and I was like, all right, I'll never go back. I used to like trim it very, very short, and then I just put the razor blade to it for Halloween, and I was like, well, this is easy to maintain.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
I'm super jealous, actually. This is not, you don't want, and then I mean, all of his flowing locks, you can ask him. You know,
This
how hard it
man
is to
has more hair
maintain.
products that go on his face for that beard thing.
I bet you boys with your face hair. It's
And
like,
he's
that's
just-
the thing.
he
It's
is
like
twirling
sometimes
his
there's
beard.
No, but that's the thing. There could be snacks in there. Like you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
Like
Marge
he could be
Simpson's hair.
saving like a Triscuit in there for
Yep.
later.
I could be saving
How
a little
dense
bit
are
of
these
beer
things?
and a,
You don't
and
know.
a
It's like a
Triscuit
bush.
for-
I tend not to play in things like
You
that.
have oh man,
Yeah.
face hair.
Yeah, I don't. Like, you see what's like the little bit of a dusting on my face is about as much as it happens, and that's it.
That's what you can handle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes him look French.
And no, I try.
So French. Oh my gosh. Can we get you in like a beret?
oh, that would
If
be.
you would just get like this little mustache out here, you can borrow his mini face products.
Rails.
Mm.
Just walk around twisting it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I'll try to give you some more that aren't as eye-rolly. There's, I don't know if you were living back in Bloomington, because we come from Bloomington Normal before we came to Texas. Him, much longer ago than I am. There was a time that Tool toured through there, and it pisses me off because they literally on a Tuesday they were playing like in Indiana or someplace east of Bloomington. They canceled the show Tuesday during the day for the Wednesday night in Normal. They were supposed to be at Redbird Arena. This was when I was like a mile down the road from Redbird, and I could just walk there, have a good time, and walk back home. Not have to worry about cars or anything or all the traffic jam. I was really looking forward to it. Tuesday afternoon, they canceled the Wednesday night show. They still go on to play the Tuesday night show, whatever city they were in. Traveled through Bloomington and played Thursday night at in the Quad Cities, if I remember right. And I had tickets for both the Wednesday and Thursday show. So I was like excited to see them 2 nights in a row, seeing how that would work. And no, I ended up just getting to see them one time.
But at least you got to see him one time. Everyone who was only going to the one show got canceled.
Yeah, true. But it would have been my second and third Tool show. Instead, it was just my second show. The first one I went to in Chicago at Rosemont when they were touring for the Lateralis tour, and that show live was like Maynard does this thing where typical concert setup, you have the lead singer out in the front and they're wooing the crowd and getting it all going. He's back behind the stage. The drummer's on the other side and everybody else is in the front. They had contortionists come out, hang over the crowd. The special effects, the lighting, everything was so just out there trippy. And it was good if you were in the right state of mind for it. And it was a great show.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
One of the, there aren't too many live shows I like, too many bands I look forward to seeing a live show from. Seeing that out of Tool, and then seeing a Perfect Circle not too long after that, when they released 13th Step. And it was a much smaller venue, not as much flair and stuff like that, more of a traditional band setup, but Maynard still went to the back. The funniest thing that happened during that Perfect Circle concert was when Maynard's like, "How's everybody doing tonight?" And somebody shouted out, "Sing 46 and 2." And his response was, "I'm not a fucking jukebox." And they played more Perfect Circle.
Yeah, he does not deal with
Yeah.
people's insubordination.
Yeah.
It shows. That's the thing, usually rock concerts, the pit, there's movement, people are running into each other, body slapping. You do that shit at a Tool show, he will say something about it so fast. You sit your ass there in your chairs and you act like an adult.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It's that's what I love. The second time I saw them, I was like, I don't need to be in the pit area. I don't need to be that close to stage. I want to sit high up and I want to see everything down below me and see the whole show. And that show was amazing to see.
Yes.
It's they have a great way of working with the venue, working with what they have, putting on a light show. Something that it surprises me because, being a big Nine Inch Nails fan, I follow a lot of what Trent Reznor does in reviews, and he admitted to going and seeing Backstreet Boys and 98 Degrees in concert years ago because his thought was, I want to see what a band who has an unlimited amount of money, what they can do with the show, and I want to see if I can mimic that or do something on my more limited budget. And he went and saw them and he said, put on a great show, well worth the price of admission, not my kind of music. Which that can be respectable. If you can put on a great live show, let's see it.
Mm-hmm. Shut your mouth.
Just leave Brittany alone.
Leave Brittany alone. Oy.
We're going to follow this podcast with hashtag Leave Brittany Alone.
Ooh, maybe Chris
Gail
Harper
Murrin.
will listen
We're going to
to
add Gail Murrin to that.
Leave Gail alone.
Leave Gail alone.
Leave Gail alone. With his Lone Star. Okay, he's busy.
So busy, just chubbing it up to the camera there. Just smile wide, smile big. There you go. Yeah, done. Do you guys feel up for any kind of other heated discussions? I want to throw it back to what we were talking about earlier, because there's a famous figure in the world of wrestling who's in the Hall of Fame for wrestling. For reasons that defy me.
I don't want to.
Well, defy me for current position in life for him and defy me for being in the WWE. the current El Presidente, quote unquote.
Who's that?
Obviously, too much beer has gone to Gail's brain, and he's just been rendered stupid these days. The current president of the United States.
Oh, that
House.
It's a comb over with a soft, shitty Rush Limbaugh body.
Didn't he take a stunner at one point?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was. The other day, I forget what the reason was. Oh, the other day, March 16th.
Stone Cold Day.
316.
Yeah.
You bet on Twitter, I had that little gif of him giving that to Trump and just like, here you go. This should happen every day. Just repost this.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely is.
Did you think he had a bud?
Hmm?
Stone Cold. Think he drank a bud yesterday? Or on the 16th?
Oh, yeah. Imagine so.
Probably mini today and then tomorrow. Forever
And just
ever.
keep it going. That's how Stone Cold
Unlike
rolls.
you, he's probably sponsored already.
Yeah.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Is there, like, I haven't listened to the Stone Cold podcast. Is it?
I mean, it's kind of like along the lines of like talking smack. It's like one of the after Raw or SmackDown things when they talk to like somebody who's probably doing something, like had a big storyline that day. Or I mean, he interviews lots of. He had a Triple H on there not too long ago. But I mean, it's like, you know what you'd think. Probably just like kind of talking to a good old boy who maybe had too many and has some opinions that maybe you just don't ever want to delve into.
True,
Yeah.
true.
I could see that.
Yeah, he's just as aggressive. Sassy.
Anything else you would like to say about the orange one?
The orange one?
The orange one.
Well, just so that everybody knows,
Give
this
everyone
is
the story of how he got there.
how he got to where in
Hall
wrestling.
of Fame.
In the Hall
Or
of
in
Fame.
wrestling.
I'll give him this. It comes from the early WrestleManias, where, and this is a funny thing. I think it was like WrestleMania 3 or 4. There was a couple of WrestleManias he did back to back, and he, being the big rich guy in the 80s, he convinced McMahon to say, "Hey, we're doing this WrestleMania live at Trump Tower." And they weren't even at Trump Tower. It was like when Trump Atlantic City was still being built and stuff like that. So they had to use the arena next door to it. And he did bring a lot of fame during that time to wrestling because of his name. Besides that and Stone Cold stunning him, I don't know what else he's done to contribute. And I think, because it was just a few years ago that he got in, right?
Yeah, it wasn't like in the past like couple of years. It was previously, but I mean they have a lot of celebrities that'll do that. Jon Stewart is pretty. Back when he had the Daily Show, Seth Rollins was on the Daily Show a couple of times, like showing up and he was at WrestleMania. He was also at SummerSlam, and still like in the ring doing stuff. Like Jon Stewart is so in to have like somebody who's like polar opposite, like.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to like see a company like that give so much attention and like praise to like two very different kinds of people. But I wonder if like Jon Stewart will continue to like participate with the WWE like after this, because they've done nothing and they've like kind of leaned into it with the McMahons going to the inauguration and sort of like I think making a statement of where they stand. Like I wonder if somebody like him would kind of be like, then I'm not going to, if y'all aren't going to do something.
I would see that being the case.
There might be, depending on how much HBO pushes him to do something. Because he's got the show coming up on HBO.
I would say, there's one thing I'll give about Vince. He's never gone away from bad press. So why not let Jon Stewart come on and talk a ton of crap? Because to Vince, all Jon Stewart is being a heel at that point in time. Can he con John into doing it and John not realize that all he is playing into that heel role?
Did Stewart get laughs or boos or cheers? What kind of reaction did he get?
It was, so like on the Daily Show is always like fun and everybody knew, but like once you get him into like the ring house, it's mostly funny, like, it's kind of got like that air about it, but he's never doing anything. He's always like the face, he's never like the booed.
Because that would be a completely, I guess I don't know like demographics for wrestling. I imagine that would be a completely different crowd that Stewart would face there versus in front of the camera.
Also, yeah, and that's, you know, like what in going to like live shows and sort of like seeing, you know, the disparity between like all these different kinds of wrestling fans. Like there's a lot of us, I think, that are there to where socially I feel like the idea is that wrestling fans are maybe not as socially aware or, you know, conscious of the world around them, and maybe middle-aged white men or younger white men mostly just. And so when you get people
male
like
straight white men,
straight, you know, conservative, it's very that is what and that's how I felt when I was a child. It was just always sort of that. And me seeing like people like Jon Stewart, like it helps me engage with that, to realize that there are other people like me who are far more liberal, and, you know, I'm a woman, and, you know, like things that maybe necessarily aren't their priority, but that exist, and that look for other people like myself, you know. So I appreciate seeing people like Jon Stewart so engaged, and you can tell the other people who are by their reaction when someone like that comes out.
It's always weird to me because everybody that I ever talk wrestling to, it's either be with somebody you wouldn't think really enjoyed wrestling, or somebody that you might expect to enjoy wrestling. Like I've never seen. It's like one of those, you can bring up the subject and you're going to see people either light up and be like, yes, and they like will name their favorites and go on off on it, or they'll just be like, I know The Rock.
Yeah.
You know?
Or, I mean, what I get sometimes is how stupid it is, like that's dumb, like ridiculous, like it's so fake, like that's brand new information that they're the first person to tell me it's not real. That's the thing. It's like, that's what I get sometimes. If I bring up wrestling, it's like, it's either a real strong backlash or it's, I don't care, so you can talk about it. It's kind of where I live.
I'll say this. I probably, as a child, believed wrestling was real longer than I believed in Santa Claus. Just because I didn't know the difference. Didn't know behind the scenes until years later.
Yeah, and it's like now it's, it's the same. I'm like, you don't watch scripted television? Like, everything is kind of scripted. Like, why is this any different? You don't have a jackass about it.
See, that's the fun thing I like about it, because as soon as you...
Yours is probably scripted as well.
No, mine's real.
Oh, yours is?
Yeah.
You watch Fox?
Oh, yeah, all the time. Constant tracker. Me and Megyn Kelly.
Well, she's leaving now. You're going to follow her to MSNBC, right?
Oh, with Rachel? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, is she going to talk shit about Fox?
Wait, is it MSNBC or did she move to CNN?
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Get on the Google. Give it a Google. What happened to Megyn Kelly?
Do you really want to Google that, Murren?
Well, and didn't was it Glenn Beck that has sort of had a come to Jesus lately, where he's like less of a tool?
He's weird, and in that sense of you assume he's got the conservative position, but I think he's got more the conservative ideals or more liberal ideas than what most conservatives will have, and it's very polarizing. Yeah. Like I follow Penn Jillette a lot, and he is very liberal, and him and Glenn Beck are really good friends. You listen to like Penn Jillette's podcast, and he talks about how Glenn Beck found like these old magic books and gifted it to Penn. Like he bought them; they were like worth millions of dollars. He bought them, gifted it to Penn to go through, find out whatever he wants, and just whenever, give them back.
Yeah.
And like, it's weird.
So you're close with MSNBC, just regular NBC.
Regular NBC.
Yeah, she's actually going to be on a show after the Today Show.
That's
in the
interesting.
morning? Oh man, white ladies are going to love her. Mm-hmm. Get the Megyn and then the General Hospital.
Well,
white wine in the coffee mug in the bathroom.
Starbucks.
No foam, extra hot, non-fat cappuccino.
I want a frappuccino.
It's not a thing. Stop ordering frappuccinos.
It's not,
Forever.
but it says so.
Forever.
It's in that little cold thing in the gas station.
Yeah, go to the gas station and get your frappuccinos. Don't come to my house asking for frappuccinos.
I'm not a coffee person myself, so.
That's insane.
I know. It's weird.
How do you live with this?
I don't know.
Earl Grey tea.
Oh my god, you and the old lady I came in with are just so lovely together.
Well, see, I got influenced mine because of the captain.
The captain?
Tea, Earl Grey, hot. The hairstyle also comes from that. And now you get it and you're looking away. I could tell by the joy in your face.
Shut your face.
I like how on this side of the table, I can see how hard both your eyes roll to the back.
I nothing. No straining here.
Alrighty, well, I think that may be a good note to leave on here for today's podcast because we are running a little late here. I really want to thank you very much for coming on.
Of course, thank you
This
for
has
having
been
me.
fantastic.
Yes.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember. I'm trying to think even the last time I geeked out about wrestling with someone, and it was an enjoyable
It was
conversation.
1994.
No, not that long.
You had your Jinkos
Yeah.
and your puka shells.
Mhm.
Probably not the puka shells. You were
Yeah,
too,
I doubt that.
too aggressive for you guys.
No, I had the
It's all very
black
heavy metal.
T-shirts and cargo khaki pants myself. Mm-hmm. With the frosted blue tips in my hair.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Hot Topic loved y'all.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite
Of
shop.
course it was.
I still would go there if I could, but there's
In
not one around for
94.
miles.
I had a flannel and parted hair.
Oh, just down the middle and
Bowl
right
cut.
here.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It was
You
great.
might not be able to see my face.
Oh, see, I've got pictures of when it was shorter, but that's about it. That was the later years. No, wait, I think I do. I think I got pictures of a lot of our friends. I've got a lot of incriminating evidence with a lot of our friends with hairstyles in the
Hey,
90s.
You could put that up there, and people are gonna say that. Well, that's not him. Doesn't look like him.
Well, in that case,
Sorry.
then I'll give you the final word there, Murren. Any final things to say on that subject matter or anything
No,
else?
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for talking sass to Jetter with me.
Of course. I'm quite
I
good at
enjoy
it.
it. Anything we can do to humiliate Jetter.
Mm-hmm. Is that it? Is that
Usually
all
you have to
got?
pay for the privilege on the internet these days, so you're getting it
Mhm.
for free.
And everybody else is listening to this for free. So if they just need their dose of,
You're just so generous.
I try.
It's okay.
My
Jetter,
time, my quote unquote intellect, it's all there for everyone to partake in.
quote unquote.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much for that, Gail. That was
Not a problem.
thank you.
Anything we need
For
to
nothing.
promote?
Yeah, we're gonna do a little self promotion. JettTheoryRadio.com is the website. JETT theoryradio.com. Yes. You like the little? What's the little snapping thing? You're just getting the snap in.
I'm just getting a snap in.
Just getting a
Everything
snap
he
in.
says.
All right.
Nice cut point.
Okay. You can get us on Facebook. We got a fan page there, Jett Theory Radio again, and also handles on Instagram and Twitter. That's JETT Theory Radio. Instagram, Twitter. Like, share, subscribe, follow along on all those social media. Let us know what we're doing and doing right. Were we right on today with our three-way match?
Oh yeah, you'll let us know if we got a single thing wrong.
Wrestling
like
fans
that's
are aggressive.
coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm really afraid. I'm scared. Somebody's gonna comment like that girl didn't.
Well,
she
this
said
was
that it was a.
1983 instead of 1984.
Right, that's not Nitro. It's TNT.
And it was technically WrestleMania 4 and 5 that Trump was there and blah, blah, blah. And you know what?
He was still
Hashtag
orange,
Gail
man.
Murren fail on
It was
fact check.
Gail's fault. Gail and Google.
Hashtag Gail fail. For more awesome times like that, keep sharing and following along with us. And there's not much else to do besides James. Let's end this.